Nobody saw it coming. Alex Eala, at the peak of her confidence, fell in the most unexpected way. The cameras were rolling, the world was watching, and then everything changed. It wasn't an injury, it wasn't a blowout loss to a top-ranked rival. It was a slow, painful unraveling against a virtual unknown in Japan, a defeat so baffling it sent shockwaves through her fanbase. In a matter of weeks, the player who had stunned the world number one was now staring at a harsh new reality. The sport she had conquered was now fighting back. And the question on everyone's mind shifted from how high she could climb to whether she had the strength to ever climb again. This is the story of the most important 2 weeks of Alex Eala's life,
September
a
7.
test of will
Ang
that will
panalong
separate
ito
a
ang naglagay
fleeting
sa
star
kanya
from a
sa
true
kasaysayan
legend.
bilang unang Filipino
To truly
at
grasp
unang
the weight of
Filipina
this
na nanalo
moment,
ng
you have to understand
WTA
the
levels.
sheer magnitude of her meteoric rise. This wasn't just a lucky streak, it was a calculated takeover, engineered in the one
but she
place on
reads the
earth
game like a
known for
veteran.
forging
And
unbreakable
Alex,
champions,
with her
the
signature
Rafael
humility,
Nadal Academy.
replied,
While
"I'm
other
learning
teams
so
were
much from
navigating
Nadia.
college life,
She brings
Alex
calm
was
to the
undergoing
storm.
a psychological
Together, we
boot
just
camp.
flow."
The Academy's philosophy, drawn directly from Nadal's own DNA, isn't about perfect technique. It's about building a mind of reinforced concrete. It's about learning to win when you have no right to thrive in discomfort,
When
and
they
to
trained
weaponize
together for the first time in
relentless pressure.
Guangzhou, sparks
This was the
flew,
hidden
not a
foundation
friction,
of her
but a
success.
synergy.
The
Eala's
invisible
youthful
armor
energy
she wore
met
onto the
Kitchenek's
court.
tactical brilliance.
And we saw that
Within
armor
minutes,
in its full
they move like a
glorious
team that
action
had been
during
playing
her
for years.
legendary Miami
Their
run.
instinct in sync,
Let's be
their
clear,
communication
defeating
seamless.
Ostapenko,
Nadia
Keys,
later told reporters,
and the world number one,
smiling,
Swiatek,
"You don't often
back
find
to
someone who
back
plays
wasn't
with
a
such
Cinderella
heart.
story.
Alex,
Cinderella
she's
needs a fairy godmother. Alex Eala used a sledgehammer. This was a systematic, brutal expose of the established order. She didn't just beat these champions, she outwilled them. She took their best shots and sent back missiles. She stepped inside the baseline and stole their time, turning their power against them. The tennis world wasn't just impressed, it was terrified. In one tournament, she went from a promising prospect to public enemy number one for every player in the top 50. That wildcard entry didn't just earn her a semi-final spot, it painted a massive, bright red target on her back. But with that stratospheric success came a form of pressure that none of her rivals on tour could possibly comprehend. Iga Świątek plays for Poland.
Their
Naomi
opponents
Osaka
were the
plays
top
for
seeds,
Japan.
veterans who
Alex
had crushed
Eala
their
plays for
competition
110
with ruthless
million
precision
Filipinos.
all week.
She
The
isn't
first
just an
set was war.
athlete, she is
Rally
a
stretched
national
to 20,
symbol,
sometimes
a living,
30 strokes.
breathing revolution.
Sweat dripped,
Every
lungs
forehand
burned,
winner is a
but neither
message of
Eala
hope
nor
to a
Kitchenek
child
blinked.
practicing on a
At
cracked
5 to
concrete
5,
court in Manila.
40 to 40,
Every
with
victory is a
tensions.
collective celebration for an entire nation. But here's the dark side of that coin. Every loss is a national heartbreak. This immense, invisible weight is the one opponent she can't out-hit or outrun. It's the constant whisper in her ear, the extra pound of pressure on every serve, the unique psychological battle she fights alone, match after match. And in Japan and Wuhan, that weight seemed to finally take its toll. The losses to lower-ranked players like Teresa Valentova weren't dramatic, 5-set epics. They were something far more dangerous, confusing, flat, and lacking the fire that had become her trademark. This is the inevitable crash that awaits every phenom. Think about it. Serena Williams had slumps. Rafael Nadal himself has faced seasons of doubt and injury. This isn't a sign of failure, it's a rite of passage. The tennis tour is a merciless machine that studies you, adapts to you, and finds your weaknesses. These losses were the sport's counterpunch. They were the necessary, painful recalibration that forces a player to evolve from a raw powerhouse into a sophisticated, complete champion. The question was never if she would face this, but how she would respond. This brings us to the present moment and the critical first step of her redemption arc, the Guangzhou Open. But she isn't arriving as a wounded underdog hoping for a lucky break. She is the 5th seed. The hunter has officially become the hunted. This new role is a psychological minefield. Every opponent she faces will now be playing with zero pressure and everything to gain, viewing a match against her as their own ticket to fame. Guangzhou is no longer about winning a title, it's about surviving the relentless onslaught of players who see her recent stumbles as blood in the water. She must rediscover her aggression, rebuild her confidence point by painful point, and prove she can handle the burden of favoritism. This is her proving ground. Yet, Guangzhou is merely the tactical rehearsal for the true judgment day, the Hong Kong Tennis Open. If Guangzhou is about rebuilding, Hong Kong is about announcing her return to the world. The lineup is a murderer's row of tennis royalty and personal ghosts. Naomi Osaka, the global icon with the power to overwhelm any opponent. Emma Raducanu, the embodiment of a fairy tale run, a constant reminder of how quickly glory can be seized. And most intriguingly, Maya Joint, the woman who beat her in the Eastbourne final, a living, breathing reminder of what she lost. This tournament is a narrative goldmine. A victory over Osaka would be a statement of elite power. A win against Raducanu would be a triumph of sustained growth over fleeting magic. But a match against Joint, that would be pure, unfiltered redemption, a chance to slay a personal demon on a global stage. What gives her a fighting chance in this high-stakes gauntlet is the one weapon that doesn't appear on any highlight reel, her mind. Her post-match analysis in Japan was telling. There were no excuses about the court, the travel, or the weather. She offered a startlingly honest and mature assessment. I couldn't find solutions. This level of self-awareness is the bedrock of greatness. You cannot fix a problem you won't acknowledge. This is the direct result of her Nadal Academy training, the ability to detach, analyze, and diagnose, even in the heat of disappointment. This mental fortress, this champion's mindset, is what separates her from dozens of other physically gifted players. It's her compass when she's lost, and it will be her guide through the storm of the next 2 weeks. All of this culminates in the ultimate, unresolved question of Alex Eala's career, the legacy fight. Can she successfully bear the dual crown of being both a national saviour and a selfish, championship-obsessed athlete? The history of sports is littered with the ghosts of prodigies who were crushed by the hopes of their country. The speculation is now a central part of her brand. Is the hope of a nation the rocket fuel that will propel her into the top 10? Or is it the anchor that will forever weigh her down, making every loss feel like a catastrophic failure? How she manages this unique pressure cooker will be the defining story of her career, determining whether she becomes a regional hero or an immortal legend of the game. So, as Alex Eala walks onto the court in Guangzhou, remember this. You are not just watching a tennis match. You are witnessing a live autopsy of a champion's psyche. You are watching a young woman navigate the most treacherous part of any great athlete's journey, the space between prodigy and legend. The shocking losses in Japan weren't the end of her story. They were the brutal, necessary plot twist that makes the eventual triumph meaningful. The platform is set. The opponents are waiting. The world is skeptical. And a 20-year-old from the Philippines, armed with a racket and a mind of steel, is ready to show us that her greatest victory won't be a trophy, but the spectacular comeback that precedes it. The fall is over. The rise begins now.